Hi, welcome back. Brenda Byers-Im, you made it. You are on video number 3 of this powerful series of the tools you have in your tool chest to bring about transformation. If you remember in video 1, we started talking about your thoughts and the ability to bring about total transformation by the renewing of your mind, and that your predominant thoughts and your predominant beliefs, and then we moved in video 2 to the predominant emotions are producing the results in your life. Remember, we said thoughts are the seed. So when you get ready to create a harvest, I want you to think in terms of seed time and harvest. I want you to think about with each thought that you're holding onto. Now, I know you can't control the thoughts that just come. A lot of times people say, I can't control my thoughts. You know, I've heard the analogy that says, you can't stop the birds from flying over your head. I understand that some negative thoughts and some thoughts that are not conducive to where you're going will fly over your head. They'll be buzzing, they'll be out there, they'll be in the media shooting at you, they'll be tempting you to grab a hold of it. Remember the book that was written, You Can't Afford the Luxury of Negative Thought? You can't stop those from coming, I understand. But the saying goes on to say, you can stop the birds from making a nest on your head. And so the idea is, are you controlling your thoughts, or are your thoughts controlling you? You see, Bob Proctor said something very interesting. I think it was when he was reading Raymond Hollywell's book, Working the Law. He says, you know, we don't have a problem, for most of us, lack of discipline. In fact, I find most people are very disciplined. They are working hard. I call it running against the wind. They are pushing and shoving, and there's most women that I know, they're willing to skip meals, they're willing to skip sleep, they're willing to do whatever it takes to make it work, but they're running against the wind, and they're mentally and physically exhausted. Bob Proctor says, we don't have a problem with discipline. We have a problem with a disciplined mind. Learning to take every thought captive, as Scripture talks about. Learning how to renew the mind. Well, this third part, after we talk about renewing the mind and the predominant emotions that we hold on to, this third part is really how you bring the harvest about. And that has to do with the words that we speak. You know, we joke and we say all kinds of things, and if you ever looked at the vocabulary that you have, you would have no idea what kind of fruit it's producing in your life. But the truth that Scripture talks about, Scripture says, out of the mouth flows the abundance of the heart. So you see, when you've begun to discipline your mind and the predominant emotional state, well, very naturally your words will change. In fact, Scripture says the power of life and death is in the tongue. Do you know you can speak life over your children? You can speak life over your business. You can speak life over your checkbook. You can speak life over your body. The power of life and death is in the tongue. And here's the clincher. It says, and we eat the fruit thereof. That which you're speaking is actually being manifested, and it's the fruit that you're producing, that you're eating. If you don't like the fruit, then change what it is you're speaking. Let me tell you something very interesting. We now know from the power, let me give you the science. I always give you the science behind the biblical truth. We know that your words actually have power to change very nature, change the material world. See, Jesus did it. The disciples were absolutely amazed. He walked by a vine, and it was deceptive. It was a fig tree, and it didn't have the figs. It was deceptive and looked like it would have the figs, and he cursed it. He didn't cut it down. He didn't burn it. He didn't put an axe to it. He simply cursed it. Well, the next day, Jesus and the disciples were walking by, and the disciples were amazed. They said, Master, the fig tree you cursed, it withered all the way down to the roots, to the ground. And Jesus did what he always did. He turned the attention from himself to them, because see, you have these tools in your toolbox. He turned the attention because he knew every one of us is created in the very image of God. And he knew that God had given us this ability to think and to feel and to speak and to literally create our reality. And he said, Don't think that's strange. He says, you too, if you have faith, you can say to this mountain, yeah, you can talk to a mountain. Do you have a mountain of debt? Do you have some mountains that are standing between you and what you're called to do? He said, you can say to this mountain, be thou removed, and it will be removed. I promise you, learning to speak this way, you'll remove the mountains from your life. We know this scientifically. If you've ever studied Dr. Emoto's work, a Japanese scientist, he did a work with water. I encourage you to look this up. You see, he took water and he would photograph it. In fact, I know someone locally that actually was part of that photography, and he would photograph that water. And then he would put, both in writing and speaking, key words. Words have power. He would put the words love next to some water. He would put the words hate or war, and he would freeze the water, slice it, and take pictures of it, fast freezing and slice it and take pictures. And do you know the beautiful crystal formations when they were high frequency words? And yes, we know frequencies of words, just like we know frequencies of thoughts and emotions. And the high frequency words like love would form these beautiful, amazing crystals. If you haven't seen the pictures, it's worth it in of itself to look at. And then he would take things like war, hatred, low frequency words, and they would be gnarled water. The crystals were all distorted. You see, all of nature responds. Do you know the scripture says all of nature is waiting for you to step into your position? All of nature, it says, groans, waiting for the sons and daughters of God to be revealed. Can I tell you, I know this is your season. This is your season to step into greatness. This is your season to experience all that life has. Jesus said, I came that you might have life and have it more abundantly. I'm so excited to share with you how to have that abundant life. I want to talk to you about how to think, feel, and speak your way to both health and prosperity, to bring about transformation, not just for you, but on the other side of your success, there's people waiting for you to model this. In fact, all of nature is groaning for you to step into your greatness. I want to invite you to join a webinar. I want you to hear, following these videos, a very powerful webinar where I'm going to walk you through some of these stages, and I'm going to tell you in advance about some very powerful events that are coming up in your area that have the ability to be the day you look at that completely transforms your future, your financial future, your physical future, your relational future. This affects every area of your life. I want to close these 3 videos with the name of my company, Prosper in All Things, and where it came from. It came from the verse that says, beloved. You see, all of this begins and ends with love. Beloved, I pray that you may prosper in every single area of your life, financially, physically, relationally, spiritually, and be in health, because without health, what do you have? And there's the key, even as your soul prospers. That word soul, biblical, means mind, will, and emotions, the very thing we've been talking about on these 3 videos. I bless you to prosper in everything you put your hand to. This has been Brenda Byers-Im from Prosper in All Things, sharing think, feel, speak your way to health and prosperity.